Hello and welcome. This is our weekly review program that is coming to you in the first week of the Ethiopian New Year 2017. And we would like to begin by saying Happy New Year to all of you. We would like to bring to you Ethiopian New Year, then other human-oriented projects that have taken place over the week, and of course the corridor development project, and especially its implication to other parts of Ethiopia. Again, we would like to say Happy New Year to all of you. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Afok Ubetu, and I'm Gemechisa Mandida. Stay with our program. Yeah, so we have Ethiopian New Year that has been celebrated over the week in a way that is really extraordinary. And this Ethiopian New Year is always, new to people, isn't it?
Right.
And especially, we come out of the rainy season and welcomed by, just this bright sunshine, beautiful. And we also have, just this time where we harvest, our crop, and our farmers are so happy about it. People are happy about it. We have got, flowers around us, beautiful flowers. And it has got, something very much to do with nature.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
So this Ethiopian year in general has got, some uniqueness in terms of having, just these 13 months. And especially the 13th month is, Pagme is interesting. It has got, either 5 or 6 days. In common years, of course, we have 5 days. But in the lunar year, we have 6 days. And people ask, questions. They would say, how you Ethiopians have, this year 2017 when the rest of the world is, having this 2024. We tell people, or the rest of the world, that Ethiopia has got a unique calendar, which has much to do with, the ancient Egyptian calendar. And we have got, 30 days over the 12 months. Yeah. And we have 5 or 6 days in the 13th month. That's really interesting. That makes us unique. But it has very much to do with nature. We follow, just the natural scenario around us. And I believe, we have, a very good reason to say that, we have a unique calendar that suits our situation, our natural environment. We come out of the rain, the cold, welcomed by, the sun, the bright sunshine. Okay, and kind of, beautiful weather.
Yeah? Right, yeah. New Year is, a remarkable era just to identify Ethiopia as a country which has got, a unique calendar, a unique culture for decades, for centuries actually.
Yeah.
So when we talk about New Year, we're simply talking about how Ethiopia is unique as compared to other European or African countries in general, because many other countries are now, celebrating their 2024th year as compared to Ethiopia. But Ethiopia lags behind in 7 or 8 years. So that by itself is an implication that Ethiopia has got a long history, a long tradition in different aspects, by the way. So when we talk particularly about the New Year, we definitely give focus on how, the weather condition, especially the summer season, is absolutely, an implicator for Ethiopians' cold season, So after we definitely finish the cold season, especially the summer season, we go into the bright future. And that is remarked by the Addis Ababa, which is absolutely, a yellow flower. And yellow is a color that shows how your future will be bright. You will have hope as well. So the yellow flower by itself is an indication that the Ethiopian New Year is always, the happiest scenario on earth. And when you talk about even the girls, which often sing a song when it comes to the New Year, they definitely wish you the happy year, right? Not only just wishing you the happy year, they may put speculations about the future as well, because whenever they sing the song, they, put their last words about the fact that they may come back in the next year as well. If you give them some gifts, being, celebrating the New Year, they put their last words as well. I mean, they wish you a happy year up to the next as well. So Definitely, we talk about the fact that the Ethiopian New Year is quite different as compared to the other African and European countries in many things. Um, different foreigners are expressing their surprise about the fact that Ethiopia has got 7 years behind the other Gregorian calendar. And actually, this is a matter of going deep into the culture and the heritage and the traditional aspects of a country, because it hasn't come out of a blue moon. We have a a long time serving religion, culture. So that by itself has brought Ethiopia into the uniqueness of other countries as well.
The Ethiopian Orthodox Church is, of course, the creator of this calendar. Actually, we adopted it from ancient Egyptian church, Orthodox Church. I think this is what scholars tell us, and Ethiopians adopted it to their situation. The fact that Ethiopia is situated in the tropics, where we have just this kind of unique climate or weather, and as you said earlier, when the rainy season is over and the new season comes, the nature around us tells us that we are going into a new season, and I think Ethiopian Orthodox Church has got a very good reason to come up with this kind of calendar, or to adopt this calendar from the Egyptian ancient calendar or church. And especially this Addis Ababa, just this yellow flower, it is unique, beautiful, and you just find it everywhere. And especially in the country, you find these flowers even in cities, and it is something that has very much to do with nature. Nobody looks after them, but they still come out when the rainy season is over. And I think Ethiopians do have a very good reason to claim that of course this deserves to be considered as the beginning of a new year.
Absolutely, Gamachisa.
Yeah.
What definitely brings something into my mind is the fact that this yellow flower, the Addis Ababa, is unique in its kind, and it's found nowhere on earth except in Ethiopia, by the way. So this area by itself is an area of a great investigation and research, besides its religious aspects, by the way. If you go to different areas in Africa or Europe, elsewhere you go, by the way, you can't find this yellow flower. It's only in Ethiopia that definitely grows just following the state of the new year in Ethiopia. So it's found only, you can get the yellow flower only in September. So it by itself, as I said a little earlier, is another area of talk, because it has a great linkage relationship with the fact that the new year is bringing a bright future, and the yellow flower by itself is an indication of the bright future. So one way or another, Cameron or shine, when we talk about the new year, we're talking about how specified the new flower to Ethiopia is, by the way. Besides that, the new year, as I told you, is a deep area that brings people together. For the new year, the Ethiopians don't stay at their home only, by the way. There are different traditional dishes, different things that can be celebrated at home, but these people go door to door to visit their family. It's not only simply focusing on your dish, your beef or perhaps chicken at home, but you go directly to your parents, your family, just to wish them the best of the year and just to share the food as well. So this brings how Ethiopians are quite related religiously, culturally, and in different aspects. Talking about the new year, we don't talk only about how the new year is unique to Ethiopia only, but how the culture of the people is unique to their own as well. That by itself is another area just to recognize the Ethiopian culture, the Ethiopian New Year celebration. Besides many other aspects, Kamachi-san.
If you look into how the new year is celebrated among Ethiopians, both in cities and in the country, what you see is, for instance, in the country, it is time for harvest, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in the city, of course, children, go door to door. They paint or they draw, flowers, giving them, just to the people in the neighborhood, and then they collect, some money which they receive from the people, who receive, just those paintings, drawings. It enhances, the social fabric. It allows people, to know one another and to exchange gifts as the children, hand over their drawings, just to their neighborhoods, and then those people give them back, some cash, and they will use that, for different purposes. Since it happens, once in a blue moon, once in a year, the children, can use it for meeting, their different needs. That's one thing, and the other thing is, once children, go to the next door, and then they give, just they present their gifts. In this case, their drawings, they draw flowers, and especially most of the time, this yellow flower, or what we call Addis Ababa, is drawn by children, and they are handed over to the household, next door, and this strengthens, just the bond, the understanding between members of a community, which is, an interesting thing. Nature itself, tells you that, you're coming into a new season, and people have, hopes renewed, okay, and they have, resolutions. For instance, well, on this day, starting from just this new year, I'll be doing this and that, like, they make, resolutions. And so this new year is an interesting time for Ethiopians. And of course, government officials or government institutions, have come out and promised, the people to engage in a better involvement in terms of development, for instance, in terms of, just reaching the community with the services they need. So it gives you some hope, new hope. It allows you to look at yourself, okay, and then converge your energy, your efforts to do, just something new, something better. So this has been, taking place in the last week. So a variety of services have been delivered by government officials. For instance, we can mention, sharing meal by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and by Mayor Addis Ababa for different community members. So would you add to that?
Yeah, I can add even further than that, by the way.
Yeah.
As you said, you are actually raising very good points, especially in relation to paintings made by the children.
Yeah.
Look, who are children? Children are with minds, free minds, by the way. Those who haven't known different things about the future, I mean, they are simply free because children are out of any calculations, which definitely are really hazardous for human beings on earth, because adults are multidimensional in thoughts, but children are free. They definitely think that the future brings bright, and the future holds very important things. So they paint flowers, and they wish you, the best year ahead of you. When it's definitely, expressed in relation to what we definitely do, especially in the 13th month, the Pagumin. Especially in Pagumin, the Ethiopians definitely go to the river. Actually, in the remote area, especially, they go to the river and wash their body. That by itself is, a season of cleaning themselves. When you clean your body, I mean, when you wash your body, in relation to the new year, the set of the new year, you will have a bright future as well. So the children and these Ethiopians, especially the remote area people, do this one in relation to bringing a new life, a new season with their parents and their family. So when we definitely think about that, and in another way, when we talk about the togetherness that the Ethiopians have, especially in sharing meals, as you said a little earlier, when you visit your parents, your family, you definitely aggrandize the culture of living together. So what the Ethiopian Prime Minister did, and perhaps the other high officials in Ethiopia did, is really remarkable in this regard, because at one hand, we are wishing the best of the year, and at the other hand, we are simply sharing the food, the dish, together. So the Prime Minister did that one in recognizing how Ethiopians live together, how the Ethiopians share their meal together, because we Ethiopians are one. We definitely share different things, the grief, the happiness, all these are, always together. So Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed did his best actually ensuring the meal, because in Ethiopia there are different standards and different people in kind. Actually, we have the wealthy, we have the middle income, and we have, at least the lowest in income actually. So even though we don't suffer from a shortage of food, I mean scarcity of food, but it's our culture to share our meal, just to eat together, to sit together, to talk about the future together. So what the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, did is, a symbol of bringing togetherness to the Ethiopian people. Whenever he visited the people, there would be a very nice emotion in the people's mind, because being visited by the Prime Minister, let alone just sharing the food by itself, is another indication that we are, having the bright future. When a certain leader of a country visits his people, look, you have different emotions. The first thing is, you will be happy. And the second thing is that you will feel equal to the other too. So Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed shared the meal with the Ethiopian people who've got less income as compared to the other people, and that by itself is a recognizable impact. And we don't forget, whenever we talk about the new year, actually it's not new in its kind, because whenever we have different festivities or holidays, the Ethiopian high officials do this one. So that's recognizable. Go much, sir.
I thought, well, of course, we need to mention, the concept of sympathy, empathy, or compassion here.
Yeah.
When you address, people disadvantaged, economically disadvantaged people, when you have, this kind of union with them as a leader, you are giving, a lesson for the public, for the general public, that, they should do the same. And of course, as many as 500,000 people have been fed in one day on behalf of, just the new year by Her Excellency Mayor Adanich, a baby as well. And so, well, we Ethiopians are, in millions, aren't we? These are, just the people who got, this kind of invitation by the leaders in Addis Ababa. But we do have, millions who live, outside Addis Ababa. And the lesson, I think, is that, just the same should be done by people who are able to do it for the people, who are in need of this kind of service. So by doing this, every new year should be, welcomed by this kind of commitment to the general public. So Ethiopians, who can afford it to feed economically disadvantaged people should do the same. Yeah, not only these, but people in other parts of the country should be treated, ought to be treated, just this way. And it has got, implications which all of us, should adopt ourselves too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It should be an experience of all Ethiopians, by the way.
Exactly.
It shouldn't come from the Prime Minister or the Mayor of the city, Addis Ababa. It should be, the task of all Ethiopians. What you have should be what others should have, by the way, because, as you said a little earlier, those who afford to live a comfortable life should, think of those who don't definitely afford to live comfortably as well. We are in a country with different diversified culture, religion, and actually sympathy, as you said. So we should feel compassionate. Gamachisa, what you said is correct.
Yes, you're right. So shall we go to the next, which is the handing over of houses?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So houses have been, voluntarily built, and they have been, handed over to the needy.
Yeah, especially not only in Ethiopia, actually, elsewhere you go, houses are, one of the basic needs. The government has had its own system here, its own solution for that. So one of the basic solutions that the Ethiopian government did is, transferring the houses built by the Ethiopian government. If you go directly to these people, they can't even afford to live for a day, let alone just building their own houses. So thinking that and recognizing how difficult just building one's house in a certain country is, the Ethiopian government has transferred actually recognizable houses to those who are in need. And that by itself is an area that the people can recognize the Ethiopian government is highly thinking of them. they're not ignored, they're not actually forgotten. And if we unite, especially if the people, especially those who are well off, coordinate and co-op with the government, those people who are in need may have, much more houses than this one, I can say, because these tasks cannot be done only by the government and the high officials. This should be a common task for all Ethiopians, so that we all the Ethiopian people can live together. So
You're right. By the way, these houses have been, built voluntarily by people. Um, the Addis Ababa city administration, didn't start this kind of, projects only now, but years back, it started, and it has been, done diligently by people who are, volunteer to come over and then, just give a hand. So we remember a couple of years ago, it was pioneered by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and also City Mayor Addis Ababa as well. So they kind of, brought people's efforts together to allow, just the needy people to have, such houses. So their houses have been, renewed, rebuilt, so that people would be able to live, in better houses. And especially, after this corridor development project, commenced, of course, some houses, had to be demolished uh, to allow, space for the corridor development, and people were volunteer in that as well. So those people, who had to be, moved to other places, were supported by, these voluntarily initiated individuals. So the government is doing this, aggressively in order to address, the housing need of people. So as many as 837 voluntarily built residential houses, have been handed over to the needy, and this is, a big achievement because, this is not something that stops right here, but we know hopefully it will expand to other places as well. So having said this, shall we go to the corridor development project and its implications so far?
exactly.
Yeah.
Much has been said about the corridor development. Everyone has talked much more about the corridor development. That means we have been, focusing highly on how important the corridor development, especially in the city Addis Ababa. We should definitely now begin with how Addis Ababa is unique, as compared to the other African countries and African cities. This city is a diplomatic hub of Africans, and this city is, the headquarters of millions of Ethiopians.
Yes.
So this city should have, the chance just to meet its reputation. And now the government of Ethiopia has had this type of technique, and that is a corridor development. Previously, this city was really recognized for congested area, quite busy with people and cars, and even mobile market that way. If you go into different areas, you might have looked at different mobile market and different, youth who definitely depend on, selling items, moving from place to place. That by itself was an obstacle to move from place to place. But now this city has got a unique feature as compared to it was before, and this is now being just transferred to other the regional cities.
Yes.
Now Addis Ababa is the model to other regional cities, particularly if we're talking about in corridor development specs. By the way, the cities in different regions are now developing much better than they were before. If you go to different areas, you can see the initiations, the energy, the motivation just to make the city very beautiful as compared to many other cities that way. So
Yes, you're right. Well, I would like to mention what Mayor Addis Ababa did last week,
Yeah.
which is, she traveled to Gondar to observe, the corridor development project there. And, well, of course, she said what she observed, what she saw exceeded, expectations. Because, as you mentioned earlier, Addis Ababa has got, big achievement in terms of implementing corridor development projects so successfully, which can also be, a lesson for other cities in the country. So she, as she observed the corridor development project in Gondar, she could see that historical places have been renovated by the corridor development project there. And she said, this will have huge tourism implications, okay, for the city. And it will make, Gondar city as beautiful as Addis Ababa is right now as a result of the corridor development project. And of course, the same thing has been transferred to Bishoftu as well. And the same has been, taking place in Bishoftu. The corridor development in Bishoftu has already commenced, as it did in Gondar. And the energy of the motivation that has been, experienced in Addis Ababa has been, transferred to these cities as well. And people are really working day and night diligently. They are making use of, just their times, their energy, their everything. The city administrations there in Gondar and in Bishoftu are also investing their all, truly speaking, and the leaders there have shown, the commitment to repeat, what has been achieved in Addis Ababa, which is a beautiful thing. As we always say, this is transformational in its very nature. And it also has to do with, cultural change in terms of our work habit, okay? So corridor development project has been, implemented in shifts. And of course, we could say it has been implemented 7 days a week, 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and this is, something that is also adapted and adopted by the rest of the cities in our country. And this is, an extraordinary achievement, especially in terms of work culture in the country. So the implication of corridor development project is so significant that we are observing, its fruits, its outcomes, which is so desirable, which has, a potential, just to bring us to what we want to be. Yeah,
Yeah, we're right.
yeah. So I think Afork, time constraint, stops us right here.
Yeah.
Viewers have been watching our program today. We wish we could have said a lot about the topics we mentioned, but time forces, to stop right here. Today's program ends right here, and next time we'll come up with other issues the same time next week. Until then, goodbye.